Hey guys, it's Hardworking Mommy here. As you can see the title of this video, it's one of my Real Talk, Let's Get Real videos. Listen, I am gonna have some really good Get Real or Let's Be Real videos. And if you don't like those types of videos, I did have people requesting those videos, so I want to make sure that I get them out there. I did have somebody saying that they liked my friendship videos, but I'm going to mix them and do friendship and relationship videos. I think that's more like story times or something. I'm thinking about that. But anyway, this one is another how to get used by your friend, basically. This is not the same girl that I talked about before. This is a different person. I had some issues. Basically, well, there were some things going on in my home when I was a teenager. So when I was like between 17 and 18, it was really, really hard to be in my house. Let's just say that. Actually, I didn't have a house. Well, anyway, when I was, I think, between 13 and 14, my mom did pen paling. If you remember the days of pen paling, she would write to people. Then she was doing this thing where you write letters to prisoners for the Catholic Church or whatever it was. I think it was for the Catholic Church, and you write. These are mainly to white collar crimes that these people did white collar crimes. And the one, but she was doing ones in New Jersey, and then she apparently was doing writing letters to prisoners in Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky. And apparently she gained a relationship with one of the prisoners. And from what I understand, he was being released. I guess his time was up and he was being released. I don't think he was on parole or anything like that. He was released. Took, I guess, a Greyhound, either the train or a Greyhound bus. No, I think he took the train. He took a train from Kentucky and came out to New Jersey. To my grandmother's house that we lived in with my grandmother. My grandmother was not aware of this. I mean, after a while, I realized my grandmother was not aware of this. And my grandmother, just thought he was, I don't know, she thought he was my mother's friend. I don't know, my grandmother realized what was going on, but anyway. Or no, I think my mother lied to her and said he was just a pen pal and he lived in Kentucky and he came out there, or something like that. So, I think my grandmother was lied to. So, because the events that were taking place kind of told me that my mother lied, or something. So anyway, he came there. I didn't know what his charges were. I didn't know what he was in prison for. I found out later on he was in jail for arson and robbery. And then I also found out he beat his he beat his first wife. And it was her house that he robbed coins or something, and he set her house on fire. But he was claiming that he didn't do that or something, and he got framed for it, whatever. But he was a very nasty alcoholic. He verbally abused me, he verbally abused my mother, and he also was physically abusive towards my mother. He did not touch me. He was only seriously verbally abusive to me. He did not put his hands on me. Came close to putting he thought he was going to try to put his hands on me, but, that was not going to happen. So, because my mother worked for the police department, and, so anyway, my grandmother, I think I thought my grandmother knew, and I think I told her, or it slipped or something, and then my grandmother found out about his prison record. So, I think my grandmother and my mother, well, my grandmother, I think she questioned my mother, and then they had a little argument or something. So basically, my grandmother was telling her she did not want him in her house. That obviously it's my grandmother's house, not my mother's house. It's my grandmother's house, and we're living there. So, and my grandmother only really wanted family because it was a duplex, but my mother lived on one side, my grandmother lived on the other. But she just wanted, it was just a house for family, or whatever. So, so basically, they winded up, they had a fight, or I think maybe it might have been my mother and her younger sister that had a fight. I don't know, because I think my mother's younger sister was putting things into my grandmother's head. I don't know. Or trying to take control, whatever it was. Because a lot of that was one-sided. They did a lot for the one-sided. They did a lot for my cousins and could give a shit about my mother from what my mother had told me. My mother's younger sister treated her like garbage, basically, because my mother, she was executive at AT&T, and my mother didn't graduate from high school, and she did, and she went to college, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And she thought she was so much hot shit, compared to my mother. And anyway, and back when my mother went to high school, you did not need. My mother did my mother was a nurse, or did nursing. You didn't need a high school diploma. You could quit. A lot of people quit school and had really good jobs. I mean, she wound up doing that, and then she had children. Then my mother did home health care for social services for I think 10 years or maybe more than that. And then the elderly woman passed away, and then my mother was unemployed. So she got a job at the, as a substitute safety guard, or she did traffic safety. So she was a substitute at first, which is basically a crossing guard, but they call it traffic safety. And then she was, replaced somebody else that was retiring. So my mother did that for the borough of the town and the police department. So, but that wasn't good enough in my aunt's eyes, because my mother made less money than her, and the two older sisters were basically garbage. But anyway, because they well, my one aunt didn't have a job, and her husband basically supported her. And then my mom made less than her because, you know, she worked for AT&T. She was this big executive that made $100,000 a year, okay? Until AT&T sold her down the river, and she wound up having to sue. That's when AT&T was forcefully laying people off, and she was laid off after she'd been there for 25 years. So she wound up suing. She only got money because she sued the company because she got wrongfully laid off after her second daughter was born. So that's what happened with that. But anyway, she still treated my mother like crap. You know, because she sued and she had money. Whatever. And basically my mother's first husband, I'm going to just say, not my dad, but her first husband, would borrow money, or whatever it was, borrow money from the family and not pay back. So, you know, they held that against my mother, even though she wasn't the one borrowing it. He was asking our family or something. But anyway, because he was a heavy gambler, and he played lottery like he was going to church. Let's just put it that way. We'll do a whole other video on that. Gamblers' problems. But that was her first husband. So they held I don't know, whatever. They just had a bunch of problems. But anyways, so what happened was, I just wound up running away to my father's house, which, I had to sneak there. Well, I think what I was trying to do was go there and, like, live. I wanted to just live with my dad. I didn't want to be bothered coming back home or whatever. So this is why between 17 and 18 I did this. It might have been 19, but I think it was 18. I was 18 going on 19, because my birthday's... So I graduated, and right after I graduated is when I did that. So, I wound up going to Rhode Island, where I'm from, where I was born. People like to deny I was born there, but yes, I was born there. They don't know what they're talking about. But I'm going there, and I don't understand. There's a whole other video I can do on that, but I know someone's going to lash out on me. So I'm probably going to have to wind up disabling the comments when I do that one. But that's my life story. About my life. I'm going to do one of those. But anyway, because nobody gets what I went through, because they had so much attention. So, so I wound up doing that. But then I'm going to say my stepmother wasn't very nice to me. Because stuff my mother did that I had nothing to freaking do with. Because she wrote a letter, and then everybody read it. So, and my grandmother, my dad's mother, made sure everybody knew about that. So, so she practically disowned me. So, anyway, which, yes, I'm still hurt over, by the way. But then I don't know. She was nice, but then she flipped. I called my dad in the middle of the night for I was actually getting my ass kicked by a guy I was dating in high school, and I called my father to just to talk to him. And yes, it was in the middle of the night. I left a message, and basically, I think when I called again, my stepmother answered the phone and basically cursed me out like I'm a piece of low-life garbage, which was very hurtful. But yeah, I was getting my ass kicked by my boyfriend. But I'm not allowed to call my father in the middle of the night for help. Anyway, so I was like this with my stepmother. I mean, I she's my stepmother, so I have to, when I felt very bad for my dad when she passed away. I, and I think when my mother passed away, she felt very bad. So I kind of had to, was trying to heal that relationship with her. And she did write me something saying that I can call her mother or something. I guess because she was trying to apologize for what she did. I don't know. But, which I took to, if you want to apologize to me, that's fine. But it's just something that happened. But, but I wanted to go, but then, I don't know, I don't know, I didn't think, my dad didn't think it would be a good idea, so I come back to New Jersey, and put up with this nonsense, but then, after I came back to New Jersey, my grandmother winded up throwing us out. Throwing my mother, my brother had to move out, he went to my older brother, went to his own place. My mom and her boyfriend moved to an apartment with me. I did not like this guy whatsoever. For drinking, I just didn't like him. He was friendly, but then you saw the devil, so let's just put it that way. He was basically using my mother. He was taking my mother's paycheck and buying all kinds of crap with it and not paying. Basically, he didn't pay rent. He would get the apartment. I believe it was under my mother's name, and just say, screw it, and did not pay the rent. And he would just sit on his ass and he didn't do nothing. So I was just basically getting sick of it. And then I just told my mother one day, I'm like, I'm out of here, screw you. I didn't want to say screw you, but I was telling him, screw you. And I just left. And, I wind up getting, I had to move into like a rooming house kind of thing. Which was like 2 blocks from where my mom's apartment was. But my mother was angry. My mother was angry at me because I didn't want to put up with that crap. And she was basically glued to me. Very strict, would not let me do anything. But she was very, very upset with me that I moved. Before my graduation, I'm gonna say this. I was staying with friends. I was staying with the boyfriend, but then he beat me up. At his mother's house. And then he was a college student, or he went to commercial art or trade, I forget, or something. He was an artist, so he went to do that in like a technical, like a art technical school thing. So when I graduated, I stayed with him, and he was, like I said, he was just physically abusing me very badly. I wanted to try and commit suicide twice because of that person. So I had to get out of that. So then I went and stayed with my friend Dennis and his family. And something happened there. I don't know what happened, but she just was like, I don't know if her husband was getting his dad, I think, was getting frustrated that I was there. Or, I don't know, but they threw me out. But they've always been nice, but they did apologize that that it was just getting too much or something like that. So I don't blame them. So I wind up going to a room. That's when I ended up in the rooming house. Because basically I was just on the street. I was just basically on the street. But then I found the rooming house. Half the time my mother didn't know where the hell I was. So I was on the street. And then I went to the rooming house, but then I asked my mother specifically, don't tell him where I'm staying. I didn't want this guy to know where I was. So then one day, she was coming over to use my phone because they didn't have, their phone got turned off. So she had to come over and use my phone. Which I didn't care, it was my mom. She used my phone. And then she was like, oh, can he please come over? So yeah, I tried to be nice. I said, alright, he can come over. But he ain't gonna come over every stinking day because this is my place. And I said that he gets loud with me, he's going right down the steps because I'm not gonna take it. He's gonna leave my place. So he ain't gonna come over here disgusting, drunk, and all this, and yell at me in my place. That ain't happening. So yeah. But anyways, what I was gonna say was when I was staying with the other dude, the abuser, I tried to get my belongings, and I had to contact the police department, which they were my mom's coworkers. So the one police officer came over. They had to assist me getting my things. And the cop literally had to stand between him and myself and basically say, do you want to see a jail cell? If you don't let me get my stuff, you're just going to see a jail cell. But when I tried to go alone, I tried to go alone first and then I called the cops. He literally had me pinned between a dresser and himself, and he was this close to my face, and he's like breathing on my face. And I can feel his breath. And my mom's just standing there, and she's, oh, stop. Okay. And he basically turned around and says, shut the fuck up, bitch. He goes, oh, I don't care. Oh, I'll knock the shit out of you. Yeah. He was such a dumb motherfucker. I'm sorry, I have to say. A guy. So anyway, yeah, I was like that, but then, what I'm saying is, like, when you have, if they know, like, if your friends, well, I wind it up, I went back and forth with that guy, so I was actually with the abuser for 3 years. I was engaged 2 years with him. That was the worst mistake in my life, going with him. But anyway, there's only certain people I will forgive and be nice to. Which is the one friend that I mentioned on here before. He's worthy of that, and there's certain people are worthy of me. If they say they're sorry, whatever. But what I'm saying is, when you know who your friends are when you're on the street. Not one of my relatives, I'm going to tell you, not one of my relatives helped me. My father would have helped me if that friction with my stepmother wasn't going on. What else? None of my. I think my mother's sister in the middle would have helped me, but she was having her own situations. But none of them helped me. None of my mother's older relatives helped me. None of my father's relatives helped me at all. They just let me stay on the street. And they figure fend for myself. And then friends, like I said, because I wouldn't let him beat my ass, his family told me to get out. And then that kid's family told me to get out. It was supposedly my best friend. My friend Dennis. And then, what do you call it? And then, let's see. And then I stayed at I was staying in hotels. Or motels, sorry. And then, let's see. Where else did I go? Oh, and then I wind up going to this, like, it's called alternative housing. It's kind of like Easter Seals, and they help young homeless. I think they help you till you're 25. I was really young, so I was there. And then there was a girl that tried to attack me and try to do certain things that I don't believe in. And she tried to attack me there. And then in '99, my mother passed away. So my mother passing away financially got me out of that. So I was actually able to get my own apartment, house. Excuse me, to own my own property. So that. But like I said, I also stayed with. Okay, so that's because it's gonna cut